Our duty is to succeed in learning and service. Excellence is our goal. Ahmadu Bello University. Get our dreams we shall achieve. We give our good learning, north to south, east to west, no nature always needs Ahmadu Bello University, a citadel of great learning.
Thank you very much. We may all sit. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, may I also recognize at the same time Professor Kabiru Bello, Vice Chancellor. Let's put our hands together for the Vice Chancellor while he comes to the podium.
Sorry for that. Fortunately, Honorable Minister borrowed me one. Okay. The Honorable Minister of State for Education, the Republic of Nigeria, our own Suhaib Said Ahmed, distinguished alumnus of Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, ably represented, the representative of the Governor of Kaduna State, Usman Bubakar, distinguished alumnus of ABU Zaria, distinguished keynote speakers and lead paper presenters, esteemed colleagues from academia and research institutions, respected members of the Faculty of Education area, other colleagues from other faculties and institutes, ABU, partners from government agencies, NGOs, and development organizations, provosts of colleges of education here present, other chief executives of institutions, members of the press, our students, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning and welcome to Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, citadel of learning, the beacon of transformative education in Nigeria. Both an honor and a privilege to stand before you today as we inaugurate this pivotal international conference convened by our esteemed faculty. As Vice Chancellor of this great institution, I've always maintained education is the foundation of human dignity and societal progress. It's not merely a privilege, but a fundamental right. Yet, the staggering reality of over 20 million out-of-school children in Nigeria remains a national emergency, one that demands urgent, collaborative, and innovative action. This conference, with the theme Future empowering the future for out of school children, speaks directly brainstorm and profile solutions for action. Ahmadu Bello have long recognized our role as a catalyst for societal transformation. Under my leadership, I've prioritized community-driven research and policy advocacy to bridge education given a resource-constrained environment. Moreover, collaboration in teaching, learning, and research is key. Today's conference brings together global experts, local stakeholders, passionate advocates in education. Let us use these partnerships and beyond rhetoric, focus beyond rhetoric, focus on actionable strategies, whether through policy reforms, community engagement, or leveraging technology. Faculty of Education, ABU Zaria, I commend your efforts and visionary leadership in organizing this conference. A relentless pursuit of excellence in teacher training, curriculum development, and educational research continues to inspire. Let this event be a milestone in our quest to redefine Nigeria's educational landscape. The founder, Ahmadu Bello, son of Sokoto, when he said education is a light, and where there is light, darkness cannot thrive. Let this conference ignite a flame of hope for millions of Nigerian children still waiting in the shadow.
Professor H.I. Bayero. This one, let's put our hands together for the dean while he comes to the podium.
Honorable Minister of Education, Professor Sweba Ahmed, ably represented by the Senior Special Assistant Professor Ali Idris, Vice Chancellor Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, Professor Science, Professor Shamsuddin Mohammed, Heads of Department in the Faculty of Education, the Deputy Dean, Faculty of Education, Professor Yami Suleiman, Assistant Dean, Faculty of Education, Dr. Liko, the Director, Institute of Education, Professor Abubakar Jumare, esteemed colleagues, respected students, the Honorable Minister of Education, Professor Suwaiba Said Ahmed, our alumnus, who is ably represented by the SSA, Professor Ali Idris, keynote speaker, Professor Rukaiya Ahmed Rufai, ably represented by Professor and Conference. I wish all fruitful deliberation and memorable periods. Thank you, and may the discussion here ignite a change that we are looking forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the Dean. Sir, please, once again, let's put our hands together for the Dean. The Dean just prays that may the discussions ignite, the change we all are clamoring for. I think that's one, again, deserves another round of applause. Thank you very much, sir. The Vice Chancellor, sir, please. Please. The Vice Chancellor, sir, distinguished guests, based on the little experience we have of a gathering like this, invitations are not read in absentia. Former Minister of Education of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and she is also here ably represented by Professor Garba Saad of Bayero University, Kano. Sir, once again, you're welcome. Next is goodwill messages.
Bluetooth is waiting for pairing.
Honorable Minister State for Education, Professor Loiba Said Ahmed, ably represented by our Senior Special Assistant, Professor Ali Idris, ably represented, the Vice Chancellor Ahmadu University, Zaria, the Provost for the colleges, university officers, deans and directors, lead paper presenters, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. I stand here before you to represent Professor Ahmadu Rufai, former minister who is unavoidably absent and goodwill and a goodwill to this occasion and success wishes. Right now, Professor is Ahmadu Bello Foundation at Bauchi. Then they will have a conference annual equally on education in Bauchi. It's two dual roles made it impossible for her to be with us. The keynote address is here with me, and I'm reading education, human rights, countries as a priority to offer education, at least at basic level, to all citizens. But for some reasons, some citizens across the globe are left out of school. Reasons are there, and they differ from one region to another, from one nation to another. But from experience of out-of-school children. And this made the issue a global issue where international agencies, form of UNICEF, UNESCO, and others made effort to provide data on the number of 1 out of 5 out-of-school children globally. Nigeria has its fair share of these 10.5 million children out of school children. The implications of this crisis is that basic literacy and numeracy in Western sense also vices like insurgency, cultural norms, and other practices contribute to the meanness in northern Nigeria. Governments successfully over the years this menace through policies and actions, which resulted in setting up of national commissions for Almajiri and out-of-school children by the federal government, and also other avenues like Sangaya and Almajiri education systems nationwide, as is enforcing the laws mandated that every child of school age should be at school by that age. The UPEC and UBE laws of 2004, subsequently revised over the years, was very clear that every child of school age should be at school at appropriate time, and that there is a stipulated punishment and reprimand for parents that withdraw their children before completion of the basic education at all levels. The basic education in Nigeria was considered to be a 9-year straight and unbroken year of education. Although of recent, there's a proposal that secondary education should be merged into the basic system. If this actually, if this proposal was actualized, it is a great development for the system, in that the government has considered it as its responsibility to provide education for 12 years to all citizens, irrespective of gender and location, and in this respect. Now, various efforts, various barriers have been identified as part of what bring people out of school. Prominent among them are cultural practices in northern Nigeria, then insurgency of recent, largely in northeast and northwestern Nigeria, then in east and southeastern Nigeria. For these reasons, we find that the number, although it's declining globally, but evidently it is increasing in Nigeria. In the northeast and southwestern Nigeria at the moment, the estimate is far above the 2018 UNESCO estimate for the region. Largely at the moment, one can only guess the number of out-of-school children in northeast and northwestern Nigeria. Because of insurgency, which largely now play a key role in we have now a case of those completely who have never seen frameworks and legislative efforts. This is the first one, that it acknowledges that over the years, successive governments in Nigeria have made policy frameworks, legislations have been passed that will compel children to be in school at the appropriate age. But the current situation of insurgency, which largely pervades northeast and southeastern Nigeria, is posing serious challenge to these policies and legislations. And that in the event of this, there is a need also for collective action and modification of policies in order to see that those who have dropped out have had a remedial measure in the form of either accelerated education or accelerated scheme of whatever form in order to bring them up to the level they are supposed to be. Also, there is need for community engagement and awareness campaigns. It is posing a challenge. And negation to the policies and law. And this will require community engagement in order to bring them back to the fold. There is also another major, which is supposed to be a partnership with international organizations. We know that a lot of organizations, donor agencies, development partners are there willing and able to partner with government in order to address this menace. And therefore, there is a need for engagement and more cooperation with these agencies for this purpose. The next one is monitoring mechanism to ensure that funds allocated to education sector, funds allocated for whatever activity with regard to have been dispersed and they have been or the problems identified in this paper is funds allocated to education sector capacity building. Largely, money budgeted for education should go directly into the system in order to reach up to the classroom level. But money used to purchase vehicles, to furnish offices, to sponsor travels of education officers would not be said to be money usually used for out of school or for education purpose. There is a need for increase in educational infrastructure resources that keeps limit with high birth rate. And we are aware that birth rate has two implications for health and for education. The moment there is increase in birth rate, there is need for corresponding plan, especially in certain locations. Where schools exist, classrooms are not being erected. The resultant effect there is high pressure on the existing schools, and there is no room or no room to accommodate the required number of children. And therefore, this requires action from government, stakeholders, and others. Then also there is need for improved security and safety in places in order to have all children in school. Many schools will have to suspend sessions due to lack of security. In the essence, this aggravates the number out of school children nationwide, and especially in northeast and northwestern Nigeria. So several factors have been identified responsible or to aggravate the situation of out of school children. And accordingly, some recommendations here have been put forward. Number one is enforcement of legislation from school. Prominently, there should be legislation against early marriage for the girl child in order to promote the girl child education. And this also will go a long way in reducing the street smoking and other vices associated with leaving girl child out of school. There's also the need to engage religious and traditional leaders in advocacy and sensitization in order to see to the most enforcement of UBEC laws of punishment and reprimand for parents and school officers that allow withdrawal of child irrespective of gender before completion of the basic education. There should be also increase in funding of education to align with UNESCO recommendations, especially at basic level. It is noticed that one of the major problems of providing basic education and accommodating all children because of the demand children met with it is at this section, finally that will, which is said to be primary key to transforming space, the political leaders must show commitment, and second leaders must show commitment and support education administrators in their implementation.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we can do better. Please let's put our hands together for our keynote speaker for that elaborate and insightful. And the Vice Chancellor, members of the high table, while the keynote speaker was presenting his keynote speech, we are privileged to receive the chairman of today's occasion, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, Senator Malam Obasani, ably represented by by the Director General Kaduna State Quality Assurance, Professor Abubakar Usman Zaria. You're welcome, sir. The Chairman, sir, the Vice Chancellor, sir, earlier before the keynote speech, were supposed to be represented by her Senior Special Assistant, Professor Ali Idris, for her remarks.
The chairman of the occasion, the executive governor of Kaduna State, ably represented here, the vice chancellor of Bello University Zaria, Professor Bello, the keynote speaker, he who is here represented, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning all. I'm here to represent the Minister of Safety, that is Professor Ahmadu. She had really wanted to be here in person because she's proud to be an alumnus of Zaria. She had a PhD, an alumnus of Zaria. She had a PhD in Zaria, and it last convocation she was which reads like this. It is with this and with great pleasure and honor to stand before scholars and academics to discuss the pertinent issue of out-of-school children ravaging our dear nation at this prestigious international conference organized by the Faculty of Education, Ahmadu Bello University Zaria. The theme of this conference is insecurity, cultural barriers, and inadequate infrastructure. It is significant. It is not insurmountable. This conference, the unique platform, explore innovative solutions, share best practices, and forge partnership that will enable us to tackle this issue head on. We have the opportunity to leverage on technology, others.
Thank you very much for education, Professor Ahmadu. Professor Suwaiba Said Ahmad, who is here ably represented by her Senior Special Assistant, Professor Ali Idris. The Chairman, sir, distinguished guests, before we move to the next item on the agenda, may I recognize the presence of the Principal, Demonstration Secondary School, Professor Abubakar Ismail Shika. You're welcome, sir. And at this point, I will
Okay, so I'm actually saying that His Excellency's cap, the chairman of the occasion, but then he is one of the recipients of the award. So I suggest that you proceed as planned, and immediately after receipt of the award, I would convey the message of His Excellency. Yes.
Hands together for her when she comes to the podium.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Chairman, sir, the Vice Chancellor, challenges the whole country facing as a result of out-of-school children, especially here in the northern region of the country. Hoping that the solutions provided during this workshop will not only stay on the shelf, of our libraries, or in our offices, or in our manuals, but in our offices, or in our manuals, but
Thank you very much, ma'am. And the next goodwill message is from the Provost, Federal College of Education, Jama'ari, Professor A.I. Mohammed, ably represented by Usman Abdul Adamu. Provost, sir.
Of them. But as a result of the commitment, you and a happy deliberations. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are indeed the next item on the agenda is presentation of awards. Before we do that, may I recognize the presence of the Assistant Dean Female Student Affairs Female Main Campus, Professor Hadiza Tukur. So, ladies and gentlemen, our first awardee for today is the Honorable Minister of State for Education, Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Suwaiba Said Ahmed, who is here ably represented by her Senior Special Assistant, Professor Ali Idris. The Chairman, sir, the Vice Chancellor, normally in an event like this, each time awards are presented, there are always citations. But based on my little experience of an event like this, citations are not read in absentia. So we just present the award to the representative of the minister. And to do this task, may I invite the Vice Chancellor of Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, Professor Kabiru Bala, to please present this award to the Honorable Minister. Vice Chancellor, sir.
Can be supported by
To be supported by the Dean of the Faculty of Education, Professor H.I. Baero. And then, of course, the collaborator, Mr. Ezra Angai. Mr. Ezra Angai, please, you can also come forward to support this presentation.
Waziri.
The Honorable Minister of State for Education, however, I have the honor, privilege to present this award to you in collaboration with Teaching Out of School Children Project Kaduna State, Award of Excellence. You as Minister of Education, Federal Republic of Nigeria, the recognition of your outstanding effort repositioning the education sector in Nigeria. Congratulations.
The next awardee is the Director Center for Girls Education, Haji Habiba Mohammed. Only that we take a citation, sir, before the award presentation. We take a citation before the award presentation, sir. While we take your citation,
Haji Habiba Mohammed is the Executive Director of the Center for Girls Education, CGE in Zaria, Northern Nigeria. CGE is a civil society organization dedicated to delaying early marriage in rural communities by addressing social and economic barriers to girls' education through mentorship and support programs. With a deep commitment to marginalized populations, Habiba has worked extensively to adolescent girls in safe spaces across rural communities, providing mentorship and educational support. Rising through the ranks from mentor to team leader of the girls program, she now oversees program implementation, strategy development, and stakeholder focusing on sexual and reproductive health, maternal and child health, life skills, literacy and numeracy, nutrition, financial literacy, gender-based violence prevention, climate change awareness, vocational training, and leadership development. Under her leadership, these interventions have positively impacted over 500,000 in and out of school girls in Nigeria. Habiba is highly regarded for her interpersonal skills and ability to mobilize stakeholders. She has been a speaker and facilitator at numerous national and international conferences, including the Girl Effect University Workshop, Abuja 2014, CIES San Francisco, US 2019, and the Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment, AGA, National Safe Spaces Training, Zaria 2021 and 2025. She is an alumni of the U.S. Department of State's Teaching Excellence and Achievement, TEA program, and RMNCH Champion for Change, the first cohort in Nigeria, and currently serves as an education network champion for Malala Fund in Nigeria. In 2019, she was listed among the Apolitical World 100 most influential people in gender and policy. Habiba holds a BA in English literature
of those students. The Chairman, sir, the Vice Chancellor, I present to you our second awardee for today, the Director, Center for Girl Education, Hajia Habiba Mohammed.
Hajia Habiba Mohammed, on behalf of the Faculty of Education at Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, in collaboration with Teaching Out of School Children Project State, I have the honor to present this meritorious award to you, in recognition of your outstanding effort to encourage girl child education in Nigeria. Congratulations.
The next officer is the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, Senator Malam Obasani, who is here ably represented by Dr. Usman Abubakar Zaria, the Director of Quality Assurance, Kaduna State.
Your Excellency, sir, Executive Governor of Kaduna State, Malam Obasani, hereby ably represented by our own Professor Usman Abubakar. I have the honor and pleasure to present this award of excellence to you, on behalf of the Faculty of Education at Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, in collaboration with Teaching Out of School Children Project Kaduna State, in recognition of your outstanding effort to repositioning of the education sector in Kaduna State. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. We now take the remarks of the chairman of today's occasions. The chairman of today's occasion, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, His Excellency Senator Obasani, who is here ably represented by Professor Usman Abubakar Zaria, the Director of Quality Assurance, Kaduna State. Chairman, sir.
The Honorable Minister of Education, State Minister of Education, Professor Suwaiba Said Ahmad, ably represented by Professor Aliyu Idris, and the Vice Chancellor of Ahmadu Bello University, this great citadel of learning, my father, Professor Kabiru Bala. When the Vice Chancellor was invited to present to the first recipient, I stood up as chairman of the occasion, and I was reminded, you are breaching the protocol. I told them that I did that out of reflex. I didn't know when I stood up. The Dean, Faculty of Education, Professor H.I. Baero, and the Chairman, Local Organizing Committee of this very important conference, Professor Tijana Abubakar, our esteemed keynote speaker, Professor Ahmadu Rufai, ably represented by Professor Garba Saad, lead paper presenter, another father of mine, Dr. Abubakar Sadiq Mohammed, and the technical paper presenter, Mr. Ezra Angai, project coordinator, reaching out of school children, Kaduna State, esteemed academics, policy makers, educationists, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon to you all. Let me start by tendering my apology for coming late. We had all arrangements, all the plans to be here in good time, but then some circumstances arose along the line, which slightly adjusted our travel plan. So please do accept my apology. And here in person, then due to some exigent official matters, he is unable to do so. So at this highly significant gathering, the Faculty of Education International Conference 2025. His Excellency conveys his heartfelt greetings and deep appreciation to the Faculty of Education, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, and the Reaching Out of School Children project for their commitment to addressing one of the most pressing challenges of our time. The theme of this conference, that is empowering the future, addressing the challenges and opportunities for out-of-school children in Nigeria, would not be relevant. It is a stark reality that millions of Nigerian children remain out of school due to socio-economic constraint, insecurity, and systemic challenges. Education is not just a priority in Kaduna State. It is the backbone of our development agenda. So under His Excellency's leadership, the education sector has consistently received the lion's share of the state's budget, with 25% of the 2024 allocated to education, 26.14% of the state budget allocated to education this year, that is in 2025. With this, education receives highest budget under this administration. This unwavering commitment is already yielding remarkable results. So in terms of infrastructure and access, so far, 62 new secondary schools have been built in the last 18 months, with 50 more underway to enroll over 100,000 students. And in terms of enhanced learning environment, so far, over 2,300 classrooms have been built, 30,000 desks provided, and a lot of improvements seen on our sanitation facilities in many of our schools. In terms of vocational and technical training, Kaduna State has established so far 3 state-of-the-art skills cities, one in each of Rigachukun, Samorun Kataf, and Soba, to train over 12,000 youths annually. Also, Panteka Market is being transformed into an international skills hub to accommodate not less than 38,000 artisans. In terms of improvement, on the performance of our students at SSCE level, that is those, completing secondary school with 5 credits and above, including Maths and English, Kaduna State has seen an increase from what used to be 54%. We are now doing 67%. In terms of innovation and digitization, Kaduna State is pioneering a hybrid CBT paper and pen junior secondary school examinations, setting a national standard for examinations reforms. So beyond education, Kaduna State is making strides in health, security, and agriculture, as well as economic development, ensuring holistic and inclusive approach to progress. Now coming back to the award. On behalf of His Excellency, the Governor, Senator Dr. Ubasani, I deeply appreciate this distinguished recognition. And this award is not just a recognition or a personal honor to His Excellency the Governor, but a testament to the collective efforts of Kaduna State Government and all education stakeholders who continue to ensure that no child is left behind. His Excellency dedicates this award to students, teachers, and other stakeholders within the education sector, working tirelessly to transform the education landscape. He assures you of his continued commitment to ensuring that every child, especially the out-of-school children or child, has access to education. Education remains the greatest equalizer, and Kaduna State will continue to pursue policies and administrative instruments that ensure that learning gaps are bridged, our teachers are supported, and ultimately our students are empowered. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and may this very important conference herald and even inspire greater strides in education transformation. Congratulations once again to Faculty of Education for organizing an international conference of this caliber. God bless Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. God bless Kaduna State. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Once again, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Please, once again, let's put our hands together for the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, who doubles as the chairman of today's occasion, who is here ably represented by Professor Usman Abubakar Zaria. Thank you very much, sir.
Bluetooth mode.
Thank you very much, sir. Other distinguished ladies and gentlemen,
Bluetooth has been connected.
it will interest each and every one of you here to know that this event is being streamed live on the official YouTube channel of the university. If you're with your phone, just go to, log on YouTube, search Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, and then you will see it being streamed live. You can subscribe and click on the bell notification icon for you to be notified each time any important university occasion is going on live. Thank you very much. Quickly, the chairman, sir, the vice chancellor. The next item on the agenda is interlude. Interlude, sir, and with your permission, we'll just take 4 minutes for some little entertainment. All lots without play the same Jack and Doll Boy, so we'll just take 4 minutes for some little refreshment. After that, we'll take the lead paper presentation. Entertainers, you have 4 minutes, please. You have 4 minutes to do whatever presentation you have. Please.
What do you want? Okay, it's over there. Oh, yes. Behind that, this thing over there. Yeah? Don't worry. That's problem.
Right, entertainment.
Thank you very much. These are students of the Department of Human Kinetics and Health Education, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. The Chairman, sir, the Vice Chancellor, distinguished members of the high table. The next item on the agenda is the lead paper presentation 1. And our lead paper presenter for today is no other person than an erudite scholar by excellence, a distinguished scientist, the director said that Dr. Abubakar Siddiq Mohammed. Please a round of applause for our lead paper presenter. The Chairman, sir, with your permission, Dr. Abubakar Siddiq Mohammed, like I said earlier, is an erudite scholar by excellence. I know that, sir, in gatherings like this, if given the opportunity, you can spend hours without exhausting all the ideas you have. But may I respectfully and humbly request that the time allotted for this presentation, sir, is 20 minutes. And may I respectfully and humbly request that you can use up to 25, sir, no problem. Yes, sir.
In order not to waste time, I see all protocols really observed. I want to first of all disagree with our Dean, the Dean of Education. In his speech, he said the problem bedeviling the education sector in Nigeria is socio-economic. I want to say the major problem is political. The major problem is political. Because it is in the realm of politics that decisions are taken as to whether we should have education or not. Whether we should have a school or not. Where a school is to be built, how teachers are paid, what incentives is given to the teachers, and so on and so forth. These decisions are political decisions. Those we elect, or those who take over power, decide the direction, not only of the country, not only of education, but also of the country. So politics is extremely important when it comes to education. In other words, in any case, what is politics? It is an arena where various forces contend. Those who emerge determine the direction of the state. So we play with politics at our own peril. If you elect leaders who prefer to buy new planes, who prefer to buy 1 billion naira worth of cars, who prefers to give members of the National Assembly a jeep worth 250 million naira, you are not going to have education. You can't solve this problem at all. You will just pretend you are solving it when you are not solving it. I mentioned the fact that it is in the realm of politics, the conditions in our schools, whether primary and university, is decided. So we can't play with it at all. Take a lecturer who has served the university for 35 years. 35 years, the best part of his life. He has reached the age of professor, the rank of a professor, and he retires. With even the improved pension scheme, he will not get more than 60 million naira gratuity. Half of it will be left with the pension administrators. But an illiterate member of the House is given 250 million naira worth of car. Something is wrong in a society like that. We have to address it seriously. When you have a governor who has served for only 8 years, and he ends up with hundreds of millions of naira as pension, with a house in Abuja, a house in the state capital, cars attached to him, orderlies attached to him, the priority will not be education. Certainly the priority will be their personal case was personal aggrandizement. Some time back, I gave a lecture in which I tried to define education. I said, the survival of any society depends to a very large extent on its system of education. A very large extent of its system of education. When I was here, I taught China as a case study. Right from the one, they knew where they were headed to. And they made sure that the educational system we have was geared towards achieving that objective. And they maintained it consistently. And I'm not surprised that China is now emerging as the leading economy in the world. Today, even militarily, it's not a pushover. But it is through the system of education that a society nurtures both its present and future generations. By inculcating in them the art of living and survival amidst the complex challenges of life in today's world. We do not educate our children, they will be lost in this complex situation, the world today. Education also enables these generations and future generations to understand the particularities of their environment and transform same for the improvement of human condition. That it was President Nyerere who said, the purpose of education is to transmit from one generation to the next the accumulated wisdom, knowledge, skills, values, and attitudes of the society to enable the young live and serve society and give them the future membership of the society. It involves active participation of the young in the maintenance and development of society. Malcolm X said, education is the passport to the future, is the passport to the future. For tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it. Those who do not prepare for tomorrow will be condemned, to regret, especially in the area of education. The world will move ahead, the world will leave them behind. And this is a challenge we are facing in this country today. Some societies have moved to the fourth stage. We have not even left the first stage. The lack of education has not only condemned many families in Nigeria and even communities to aching and living for generations. In short, they live a life of penury. It has also made these communities susceptible to manipulation. This is why the phenomenon of out-of-school children is very, very concerning. And this is why we cannot solve it unless we have needed leadership in this country, which is dedicated to actually tackling it. We can't have our leaders always say, we are going to tackle out-of-school children problems, and at the same time fail to build schools to accommodate these children. I've gone to, in the course of our work in the center, I have visited many ministries of education, and the common thing is that we don't have vacancies to recruit teachers. Can you see the contradiction? We build colleges of education in order to produce teachers. We produce the teachers, highly qualified. Those who build those schools are now saying they don't have places for the teachers. And yet they have their children roaming about doing nothing. That is serious, for goodness sake. That is a problem we are facing in this country. We have to be honest with ourselves. If you take speeches made by ministers, governors, commissioners of education, they all repeat the same thing. Apparently, anytime they are invited to hear a speech on out-of-school children, they go back to pick one statement, one speech, even by their previous. Now, available data, the Minister of Education, former Minister of Education. 1 in every 5 of the world's and out-of-school children lives in Nigeria. 1 in every 5. And we have been saying it over and over and over again. Nothing is changing. In fact, question these statistics, if you know how they are fabricated, you will question them if it is even more than that. We cite international organizations. They also rely on the faulty data, collected in Nigeria, make some minor adjustments, and then publish them, and we don't interrogate it. Are manipulated. they have work, because they have skills, they can earn a living, they have salaries. One of the reasons men have, one of the conditions, one of the reasons I give for men dominating women is precisely because men provide for the household. That domination is school. We do it together. They engage when they went to school. They cannot do it because they themselves don't know what is happening. So education, lack of education even affects the family. Not even in terms of employment, in terms of educating the children. And many organizations have told us that there are about 71 million people worldwide. It's not only Nigeria, 71 million people, 15 to 24 years old, who do not have employment. They do not have employment partly because they are not educated or they have been miseducated. This has to be also go through other forms of exploitation in order to make ends meet. Prostitution is one of them. Many of them engage in order to make ends meet. But even in engaging in prostitution, there's a difference. It's not palatable to say. An educated prostitute will earn less. Both are bad. But we are intellectuals. We have to show the difference. Even the way they will dress, the woman will dress is different. The way they will protect themselves is different. You know, a woman from a village who becomes a prostitute, she comes to Zaria, she may not. So education is extremely important. Now, what are the impediments to education? What are the impediments to education? It's a factor. If a child is born in a poor family, especially in urban areas where schools are very expensive, that child will not have education. We have seen it in ABU. When we will resume here in ABU, we don't have to go far. Maybe a month after resumption, the classes are not full. The classes are not full precisely because many of poor families could not even afford the transport to come to school. Only those whose parents can afford can come to school. And as fees keep on going up, we will not get a student to pay to really come to school. So poverty affects education. It's an impediment to education. Even where the parents have succeeded in paying the transport for the kids to come to school, and it happens, for the kids to come to school, they do not have money, you know, to give them for their upkeep while they are in school. So they engage in all sorts of criminal activities, some of them, in order to make ends meet. And people take advantage of them, both men and women. So these are some of these in societies where government, you know, is actually focused. They will come out with schemes, scholarship schemes, grants to ensure that these boys and girls, these students have education. When I entered in it, so we're given admission. We came to the university, the place where selection with a letter from your scholarship board, and ABU gave you money, feeding money. We are giving money to buy food in a restaurant which is efficient, we're upkeep. That's what we did. So we didn't think of anything other than going to school, other than attending lectures. We were prepared by the state. Increasingly, when corruption became endemic in Nigeria, state governments stopped giving scholarship to students. And this is the mess that we have. It has contributed to insecurity, it has contributed to out-of-school children, the increase in out-of-school children. In fact, new statistics, imagine, is telling us that dropout rate is on the increase. Dropout rate is on the increase. People may go to formal school, they may not finish. Precisely because of these factors which I've mentioned. Their parents are poor, the system is not structured in such a way that they can work in order to pay their school fees and so on and so forth. I had schooled outside the country. There were occasions I went to the dining hall and saw my own colleagues, student colleagues, serving in the dining hall. You ask them, why are you serving? They will tell you that this will give me this amount of money per hour. They use that to supplement their allowances. So there are avenues elsewhere for students to take care of themselves, even if they come from poor homes. But we don't have it in this country. When the economy is contracting, jobs cannot be created. So it's not even given in Nigeria that when you are educated, you get a job. Well, the jobs are not there, especially when the state and the private sector is not actually investing in the economy. 1 month before I graduated from ABU, I had 4 jobs. 4 jobs for me to take. That was our situation. Those who benefited from this, people like me and many, were the ones who eventually took over the state and then made it impossible for our own children or for the children of the poor to actually benefit from what we benefited. I keep on saying, if the leaders, our leaders in the past, have treated us the way our generation is treating the children of others, many of us have ended up as houseboys or almajiri in the streets. So we have to change our attitude. That's why, in fact, but for Professor Bayero, I wasn't going to come to a lecture like this. I said, you come and waste your time. I don't want to come and listen to leaders telling me lies. Hypocrisy has leaders telling me lies. They know what they're saying is a lie. And we clap for them, knowing fully what they're telling us lies. And they're thinking that they have convinced us. They know that they are lying also. Now, part of it is that you are with the leader. And I'm telling you what I know. He is telling you what is wrong. Those telling him Hakane knows that he is wrong. What he's going to do is not in the interest of society. It is not going to help education. And he comes back to say the right thing. They will still say Hakane. Nobody, what kind of society are we living? Moral values have collapsed. When we were young, by the time we went to school, we were given this book we read, Civic for Self-Government. Civic for Self-Government. We were taught what is good and what is bad. And I know that there's something to teach with moral education. Oh, moral education now. What is this moral education? The man teaching the moral education is very immoral. No? He is taking money from students. He is going after his own students. What are you doing? So we have to look inwardly. Do you expect them to be upright?
Thank you very much, sir. Please, I think Dr. Abubakar Sadiq Mohammed deserves much more than that. He even deserves a standing ovation, please. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for that insightful and, of course, heart-touching presentation. And like I said earlier, before the lecture, knowing fully well who Dr. Abubakar Siddiq is, Professor Abubakar Siddiq, thank you, Ma, for that correction. Knowing fully well who he is, I know that if you give him 20 minutes, he will take an hour. I gave him 25 minutes, he took 55 minutes. And even the 55 is not enough. I just had to be on his neck to stop, to at least put a pause on the presentation. Thank you very much once again, sir, for allowing us to tap from a world of experiences. Indeed, the enterprise of your knowledge has been felt today, and we hope that our leaders will actually do something better, given the current situation, given the current global situation in diaspora. I just hope and pray that those at the helm of affairs will do sure that Nigeria is a better place for Nigerians. Thank you very much once again, sir. The chairman, sir, distinguished guest members of the high table, we take the next presentation, and the next presentation is going to be a technical paper. And even though I don't know Mr. Ezra Angai, but I know that he will not take much time like Professor Malam Siddiq. Mr. Ezra Angai, the time allotted for your presentation is 20 minutes. And I just pray and hope that you stick to that 20 minutes.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Chairman of the occasion, Excellency, the Governor of Kaduna State, ably represented. Of the Honorable Minister, State for Education. Of the Honorable Minister, State for Education. Professor, students, for me to stand before you this afternoon for two reasons. One, university, because the issue of out-of-school children is all too important and their education cannot wait. Let me start first of all by thanking Professor Sadiq. It was very insightful. In fact, I'll tell you a personal story. I was tapped from the private sector to take on this assignment. You can imagine the private sector to take on this assignment. You can imagine when I walked into the ministry on day one, I made up my mind to resign and go back to Abuja. However, two events happened, convinced me otherwise, to speak to the points that you've made very clearly this afternoon. The first of them was, in doing my research, to find out how many out-of-school children do we have in Kaduna, so that I can set up a baseline for the work that I've been called for to do. And in doing that research, I found out that there was a program that was implemented by SUBEB on ESTA, is a World Bank funded project. At the end of that project, 300 children have been returned, enrolled back to school. And I took that report and I went to the governor of the state, His Excellency Senator Obasani, excited, of course, to say, Your Excellency, Kaduna State is moving in the direction, and if we just do one or two things, we are going to solve the problem. To my amazement, I got the biggest scolding of my life, and I will never forget what the governor said to me. He said, do you think I want to have even one out-of-school child out of school? That sent a clear message and a signal. I had come to work for somebody who was serious about tackling the issue of out-of-school children. The second thing that convinced me to stay, please, project management team members, can you stand up? Sorry, just a minute. Okay. There's always the wrong impression that within the civil service, you will not find quality, or within our teachers, you will not find quality. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you my colleagues who have been wonderful, efficient, brilliant, and up to task. They not only know the duty of serving in education, but they are dutiful. Sometimes we've left the office at 12 o'clock. Sometimes we've come at weekends. Kaduna State has a no Friday work policy, but these ladies and gentlemen show up to work every Friday as long as there's a task to be done. So thank you, my colleagues. This is the second reason why I stayed. Now, I had done a presentation to speak to a number of issues, but I'm going to skip right to it because many people have already done. One is he spoke about teachers' welfare, and I completely agree with him. That has to be the point where we look very seriously, that if our teachers are not encouraged, we don't have enough of them that are trained and capable, then what we're doing in itself is an exercise in futility, because we have a situation where we bring the children back to school and they learn nothing. In fact, to buttress what I'm saying, last year, the Kaduna State Bureau for Statistics did a research that was funded and supported by the Agile Project Kaduna, and it discovered that 54%, there's a 54% learning poverty in Kaduna State. This means that 54% of the children that are in school are not learning at the level that they are supposed to learn. However, there's a ray of sunshine at the end of the tunnel. One of them is the point that I mentioned earlier, the seriousness and commitment of the government. So you will find out that across the length and breadth of the state, there are various programs and initiatives carried out. One of them is those done by claim. It's called Teaching at the Right Level. It's like a booster to place students where they belong. If you are supposed to know how to read ABC and you don't know how to read ABC, you go through that program that takes you up to that level and then places you at the right class. That's one of them. I mentioned the Agile program. That's for that's specifically to tackle the issue of adolescent girls, bringing them back to school, but not just that, creating a sense of livelihood. That's by giving them skills that will help them survive, have them come back to school. The DG Quality Assurance is here, so he's wearing dual caps. His Excellency the Governor, representing His Excellency the Governor of Kaduna State. His agency has also been an outlier agency in the sense that we've ramped up monitoring of our schools, making sure that the quality of education is sustained and uplifted. I wanted to say this later on, but maybe I'll just go ahead to say, because I believe so much in the power of collaboration, that the one way that we can tackle and solve this problem is if we're able to bring all the players on board. Something significant happened in the initiative of DG Quality Assurance. I'll say this publicly and recognize him for what he's done. He initiated a meeting between our agency and the Nigerian Association of Proprietors of Private Schools. And in that meeting, we agreed that they too could play a role in tackling the issue of out-of-school children, and they were excited with what the government was doing. I'm happy to announce to this House that as of 2 weeks ago, we had another meeting with them, and the members in 23 local governments of Kaduna State were willing of the out-of-school children project. This means that when we map the children, we identify where they are, we supply to those private schools that we have that MOU with, and then they are able to get access to high-quality education. I thought that's something to clap for. Thank you very much. So let me get into my presentation. Like I said, it remains a stain and a scourge on our national conscience. And in Kaduna State, I'll speak to all the efforts that are being made, then I'll talk about the efforts that can be made to make sure that this problem is tackled once and for all. Our program is called the Reaching Out of School Children Project. The project is designed with many parts, but I'll speak to just 3 parts of that project. The first part I'll speak to is the part that talks about access to quality and inclusive education. For us to achieve this objective of the project, we are seeking to build 102 brand new schools and renovate 170 schools. These schools, thank you. These schools are going to be built and rehabilitated across the 23 local governments in Kaduna State, making sure that children who don't have access, who are unable to go to school because the schools are too far, or there's banditry in the schools where they go to have access to quality and inclusive education. Second aspect of our project is to deepen the core of the education itself. I already touched on that a bit. The project is going to embark on intensive and significant teacher training, teacher professional development at its called, and capacity building for our teachers. Part of the things that we also try to do is to engage the local government. We've had a meeting with Algon because they are directly in charge of teachers, making funds available for them. For Algon to be able to work closely with us to see that more teachers are brought on stream and their welfare is improved. Another significant step on the welfare of teachers that we've also been able to take is to engage with SUBEB. And I'm aware that SUBEB currently is designing a framework to ensure that teachers are posted within their domicile. So you don't have to travel a far distance. In fact, when we went to see the emir, he pointed this out to us. That we've spoken so much about the out of school, but they are now out of school because from Monday to Thursday in about 31 districts in Kaduna State, we go to those schools and the teachers simply cannot afford to go to school. So that's one way that we've tried to look at, speak with SUBEB, and see at the end of 4 years, about 400 Sangaya schools will be enlisted. And what are we going to do with those Sangaya schools? Just like you mentioned, the introduction of basic literacy and numeracy. But the program has been themselves have a responsibility at hand. One of them is that they have to be registered with the Bureau for already shown considerable commitment and effort and seriousness to tackle the issue of out-of-school children. Community engagement and awareness. This has been spoken about, and we consider ABU as part of this community. We consider ABU as a critical stakeholder. ABU as an institution has led the way, not only in this country, but internationally. When I was schooling here, we had a lot of people come from Niger and other African countries to study in ABU. I don't know if that still obtains, but if you go to my hostel, ICSA, you'll find a lot of them here. This speaks to the quality of education and level that ABU has maintained. So to our minds, we consider ABU as a critical partner, and the Faculty of Education, it goes without saying, as an even more suitable partner to push the agenda of this project forward and carry out the right kind of advocacy. We spoke about expanding alternative learning models. The issues of insecurity in some places can only be addressed by this model. Part of the activities that will be carried out in our project is the concept of radio learning. So for certain communities, the knowledge will be preloaded in radios that will be distributed in communities. So around a specific time, they gather, not too many people, maybe 15 people to one radio, and they sit down and they go through the lessons. These are all innovative ways that we can reach areas where there's conflict. Because for instance, you can't endanger the lives of the teachers, you can't endanger the lives of the learners. So these are all innovative ways. There's also digital learning. I'm aware that SUBEB is leading in this direction to push digital economic development, education above all, global partnership. We've had to pull these partners together, not just bringing money, but bringing technical support, bringing expertise and spread to make sure that we're able to achieve the laudable objective project. Conclusion and call to action. Advocacy. Yes, I agree that we must strengthen the laws that criminal advocacy and use bribery. This conversation will not be had. In fact, I have classmates whose parents sold their houses in order to sponsor their kids to school because of the premium they put to education. So we must continue to engage at community level with our religious leaders, with our traditional leaders, with parents, and even with students. We must encourage even you as students to undertake projects within your school to reach out to your immediate community. So yes, I strongly advocate for advocacy, political will. This has also been mentioned. Legislation, this doesn't need elaboration because I mean we need to make laws that help us to keep our children in school. Charity begins at home. If you are seated here and you have who has not gone to, who is not educated, and you have no plan whatsoever to send that child to school, then you are not a solution, you are part of the problem. I'm sorry if I sound brutal and harsh, but this is the reality. We cannot look to the government alone when we make these speeches and then you go back home and your house help has been with you for 5 years. No skill, no learning, nothing. Doesn't work. The Igbo people have the apprenticeship system. We don't have that. So I encourage under parental care for us to take this seriously and take it into consideration. Introduction of skills training at tertiary level, so that even when you join in, when they teach you at the right level, you are a dropout, you gain some basic literacy and numeracy, and you can make the decision either to go to a university or you've now become a designer tailor, and you go and continue to become like Wogi. Lastly, I've come to the end. I'd like you to just show a few pictures because for me, I love statistics and at the same time, I hate statistics because statistics tend to just be a number. Can you go to the last slide? Is the projector? It's off? No light. Okay, I have to do this. I'm sorry. I hope you can. Say statistics are numbers, but to the field, use local government. Then you can put faces 524 out of school children that are living and existing in Kaduna. They are not only a threat to themselves and their families, existential threat to all of us. Because when the Vice Chancellor spoke, he says education is a light. Light has only one function, drive the way dark. Unfortunately for us as human beings, we cannot have a vacuum. If there's no light in those children, there's certainly going to be darkness. And this is why we've seen that with the banditry, theft, and different ills that have bedeviled our society, you can link it back to the lack of light driving darkness to a corner. Thank you very much for listening to this afternoon.
Recap of the presentation. The protocol have been disseminated, but at the same time, I would like to stand on the recent ones. Please permit me. I will repertoire the paper, not the presenter. Was some of his thought. But be that as it may, I will be very first with this. The presenter presented the paper on empowering the future, challenges and opportunities of out of school children. The presenter defined his objectives, the objectives of the paper as follows. He wanted to identify and analyze the key challenges, prevent the solutions, as well as wants to school children issues in global. 30% of the entire global crisis in Africa. You can imagine the number of continents we have, and we are taking a share of just of the whopping 30%. The 20% of he went further to say that recent reports states that in northern Nigeria, 15.23 million of children are out of school, while in southern Nigeria, only 2.55 million. That speaks to the last part of this presentation where I was talking about people in the south, that in the south we might not be having this conversation. He presented some of the challenges that is bedeviling the issue of out of school children in Nigeria. He enumerated some of them, such as poverty and economic hardship, insecurity. I think the lead paper presented and think it's just a political. Wanted to throw a jab, if I'm allowed, sir, that you have
identified your team and you told them to stand up. You talked about how hardworking they are. I just hope that what they are receiving is the same thing the primary school teachers are receiving. I know there's a difference, and that is why they're like that. So if you want the teachers to be up and doing like them, perhaps they should get more. It talks to the recruitment of quality teachers, as he has said, that 54% of children inside school are actually not learning up to the level that is expected of them. What are the current strategies and efforts by government, specifically in Kaduna State? Increased budgetary allocation. A 25% budgetary allocation in Kaduna State is fantastic. And please, a round of applause for them. Hope the money will not be embezzled. Quality Assurance Authority, I trust Professor Zaria. He was going to do a wonderful job in that area. Then the World Bank supported project, which I think is one of the collaboration we are having today. Alternative learning models such as the radio learning that you mentioned, and of course one of the presenter actually mentioned those alternatives earlier. Teacher training and retention strategies. If you don't permit me, I would like to say that if there is a job advert today, 60% of teachers, or 70 or 80, no more, will apply for that job. That is because the welfare in here is actually not good enough. And as such, you find it difficult to retain good teachers, even in the universities. Security improvement and empowering child education. What are the takeaways? For me, the takeaways are inclusive education is actually possible in Nigeria with the right strategies. And the one that you guys are doing is one of the ways to actually get that done. Thank you so much. That's it.
Thank you very much, Dr. Akorede. For that insightful discussion. It has indeed captured all that people captured. Quickly before the next item, I have the permission of the chairman to invite one of our awardees for today, the Director Center for Girls Education, Hajia Habiba Mohammed, for some few remarks. And the chairman, sir, may I also seek your permission, sir, to please allow one comment or question based on Madam Sadiq's presentation, because looking at the nature of the presentation, I think it would be very unfair to go without a comment or a question. I think we'll take only 5 minutes. 5 minutes for both the question and the response, sir. But first, I invite Haji Habiba Mohammed for the remarks.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Alhamdulillah, all protocols duly observed. I want to thank the Faculty of Education for recognizing the Center for Girls Education and the work that we do. At the Center for Girls Education, the issues that the conference is trying to address, that is addressing the challenges and opportunities for out-of-school children in Nigeria. At the Center for Girls Education, we have solutions to all these problems. Our only concern is that we cannot do it alone. We need to bring in everybody, from the girls, from the boys, from teachers, from parents. All stakeholders need to be on board for us to be able to do this together. At the Center for Girls Education, we're working to support adolescent girls and even young girls from ages 4 to age 24. What we do is to support girls in very rural and hard-to-reach communities with preschool safe spaces where we support girls to be able to learn even before enrolling into primary school. We use the Montessori methodology and the Jolie phonics. And we have projects for in-school children, but want to go back to school. So we have a project that we're currently implementing. We call it Pathways to Choice. It is supporting the out-of-school girls to go back to school and be who they want to be in life. And we don't do this in isolation. We work with the government, we work with community and religious leaders, we work with parents and husbands of these girls, and we work with the girls themselves. We train our teachers to become mentors. We want them to see themselves not just as teachers, but as mentors. Because it is when you become a mentor that you can be a role model for other people to want to emulate you. So this conference is bringing together. It's one that if we really want to walk the talk, we can be able to do it by putting our heads together. Thank you for everything, and God bless you.
Okay, thank you very much. I actually want to echo some of the points made by our keynote speaker, Dr. Abubakar Sadiq Muhammad, the paper presenter. And he actually emphasized the need for us to define clearly what out-of-school children are. Who is out of school? A country that hasn't got rights, then necessarily would get the wrong statistics of out of school. So our fight must begin here. This is a country where I remember when we were managing an NGO called ASRI, Almajiri School Remodeling Initiative, where a roadside mechanic can repair a car that even a professor of mechanical engineering cannot repair. Is being described as illiterate, is being described as out of school at some point in his life. This is the country where an artisan that can design a solar system at your home, something that even a professor of electrical and electronics engineering cannot do, is counted among the out-of-school children at some point. These guys have even bigger impact on our GDP in a way, but we continue to count them artisans. But definitely, we shouldn't just be lumping them up, and that's why we continue to see a rise unnecessarily on that number. It's one of the reasons, actually. And I also, we are not only emphasizing conventional examination systems like the SSCE offered by WAEC and NECO. We are also emphasizing NAPTEP by MBTE, MBIS, SSCE, and nowadays even what is called NSQF, National Skills Qualification Framework. With this, there is minimum emphasis on language with NSQF, the emphasis on the skills that you have. We can get a roadside mechanic with 30 years of experience, engage in using what we call QAAs, quality assurance assessors, and then quantify his experience, offer him the kind of certificate that he deserves. If you are on NSQF 3, you have completed secondary school. NSQF 4, you have a diploma. 5, a degree. 6 and above, and postgraduate. So we have this system. And then we need to really create awareness that these systems are there and our people can make use of them. We are a country where we worship certificates. So this is an opportunity now to acquire this certificate. That's number one. Number two, the idea of free and compulsory education. At the surface, it may look great, but from quality assurance point of view, from so many angles, it continues to create some problems. This is about that UBEC Act of the 2004, Section 15, subsection 1, that talks about free and compulsory education. But then the question is, where are the limits? Where does that freedom end? Where does it end? A situation whereby a parent can call you, come and pick my kid, take him to your school. After all, education is free in the state. We really have to sit down and define boundaries for the whole idea of free and compulsory education, because it's creating a problem. The act is there, but the implementation, really, we have to work on it. There are so many issues. So I think these are some of the few points I want to re-echo and re-emphasize. Maybe at some point when we have another juncture, we can come back and react again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the chairman, sir. Quickly, ladies and gentlemen, the next item on the agenda is supposed to be the vote of thanks by the chairman of the conference, but the dean has pleaded that we give Professor Hadiza Tukuru 2 minutes to also comment on some projects she partook in some times back, just to kind of share experience with us. And he said the 2 minutes should be 2 minutes. At the end of that 120 seconds, I shall stop Professor Hadiza Tukuru.
All protocols duly observed. I'll go straight. There is a project we are undertaking at Tudumunzira community behind Area BZ of ABU. We are using a model called leading communities, working with communities to lead their own development. That community is leading their own development, have established a school there, conventional school, where out of children, we started with 30, we now have over 100. We have adult literacy classes for the women, with the men initially, but the men have dropped to go to the farm. And when we invited Center for Girl Child Education to come and see what we are doing, the center graciously brought a project where the adolescent girls were taught how to make shoes and bags, and they were also taught poultry. Currently, we have 2 adult literacy classes for women who not only learn how to read and write, but they are also taught life skills. And such women ensure children, no matter what, go to school. So this is the little. Have I exhausted my 2 minutes? Okay. So we started with Islamia school. The Islamia school. What made me go to that community is that I observed that their girls come into ABU to work as house girls. They don't go to school. I tried getting them to school, it didn't work. So I went into the community, interacted with the leadership, asked them how they would want to see any improvement in their community, and they told me that they wanted development in the area of, they wanted improvement in the area of education and health. I told them I'm a teacher, I don't have any kobo, you'll do everything by yourself. And believe you me, they are doing it. We now have over 100 pupils in the schools. From mud brick classes, we have now moved to cement brick Islamia school, and they have also donated the community a piece of land where they want to build their own school for the community by themselves. They are now trying to register with, is it CSC? They are contributing money by themselves because they know the value of education. So this is a little of what we are doing, and we're still working at it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for that experience. Quickly, for the vote of thanks, may I invite the chairman of the... Okay, the dean said we should entertain 1 or 2 questions. I think for gender balance, We'll start with Professor Suleiman and then Professor Shika. I'm sorry, sir. We just take two. My apologies, sir. We just take two. Professor Suleiman and Professor Shika will suffice. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mine is just a comment, and the comment goes to the Kaduna State Governor. Looking at the paper that was presented by Professor Sadiq Abubakar, we have had several programs, several curriculums developed in this country, and some of us are part of that. We have developed Sangaya curriculum. We have developed what we know as Admajiri curriculum. And it is not the program per se we are talking about, but the willpower to implement all that has been developed. I want to state that government should try as much as possible, because that development of the program took place in Kaduna State. And you know it, at Arewa House. But how far has it been implemented? In fact, we have a commission for those Almajiri schools and Sangaya, but it's not functioning. And now we are having several programs on ground again. There is no willpower. We want this program being implemented, follow it to letter, from one government to another. It is not that one government will come and bring a program and another one will come and bring his own program. Why don't we follow it up? Then we catch all this population we are talking about. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, sirs. Let me stand on the existing protocol. I have some observations and questions. Most of them are centered to Mr. Ezra, who is a doctor in AU today. Mr. Ezra, I heard you talking about restricting teachers or domiciling teachers within their environment, because when they go far, there is a problem. So a villager like me coming from your local government area, that method or strategy you adopted may make our people in your local government to become at the disadvantaged side. Because I learned when Kaduna State employs some teachers, some of them were posted to Marabunguga, Kuruku, and the localities within my area. Most of them did not report because the place is rural. And some of their committee members are complaining about insecurity in the area. Some of them prefer to lose the job. And now you are telling us you are misleading them, you are restricting them within the urban centers. Does that mean that we that are from the rural centers, we will keep on being at a disadvantaged state? What strategies are you taking? What is assurance, Chairman? It's like it's going to the two of you. What strategies are you taking to take care of people that are villagers from our villages? Two, it seems that there is discrepancy between the percentage allocated for education in Kaduna State from what you reported, Mr. Ezra, and what the Director of Quality Assurance reported. I think you reported 25%, and I think you reported 26.5%, if I heard him very well. Why the discrepancy of 1.5%? Because you are from the same community, we don't expect to have discrepancy in the figures you are giving us. And I can quote the commissioner of the Commissioner of Education when we went for WAEC celebration. He mentioned exactly 26.5%. But you, Mr. Ezra, now you are giving us 20. Are you retrogressing while he is progressing? That's true. Then the issue of collectivism in your programs. There was a time when McCarthy's regime took care of the Almajiri system of education because they did something wonderful at that point in time. So most of the Almajiris in the northern Nigeria proliferated to Kaduna State, and it was a problem. So are you sure history will not repeat itself in that regard? And how do you collaborate with proprietors of private schools? Because we know private school, If you don't pay school fees, it's not like demonstration secondary school when you say, please give us to the end of the month. Private proprietors of secondary school, one day if you don't give money, they will send the children out of school. They will come out of school children. Or are you collaborating with state government to come in financially? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ezra. My concern is, Mr. Ezra, you mentioned the candidates in Kaduna State that are contributing to the ROOS, and you forgot to mention Agency for Mass Education. So please, as a key stakeholder that are having the mandate of out-of-school Agency for Mass Education, please take note. Number two, you need to understand these learners, they are between the ages of 5 to 14. Wherever you mention out-of-school children are between the ages of 5 to 14. So definitely, they have some characteristics that are quite different to conventional schools. The reason why most of the projects that came up in Nigeria failed is that we didn't consider the characteristics, the peculiarities, and the assumptions of the learners. So what I am calling on you, please understand who are the out-of-school children. What are their needs? What form of education they need? Because you can't take a child of 14 years in a school to spend 6 years in the primary school. It's not possible. That is why the best form of education for out-of-school children is non-formal education. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me start with the first set of questions. Prof, I believe, you first spoke about teacher posting. What I actually said was that the teachers will be drawn from the communities where they come from. If you're a resident in Giwa, instead of bringing a teacher from Sanga local government, for instance, post him to Giwa, the first priority will be to look for a teacher from Giwa so that you eliminate that problem. Just to clarify that. The second point is about the budget. Prof is absolutely 100% right. But my presentation, what I alluded to, that Kaduna State has in 2 consecutive years has maintained over 25% budgetary allocation to education. That was the point that I made. You mentioned an influx. If you solve the problem, because yes, absolutely, if this all was dirty and ugly, and then somebody comes and clears out the rubble, what you have to find is everybody will want to come and stay in this hall. I think this actually happened in Kano. That's the reference you are making. And at the end of the day, the system was broken and they had to abandon it. So for us, we take from those lessons, which is why we set strict criteria. Know the people that we're bringing, because the idea is not lip service. The idea is to actually impact on those children. So we've set a benchmark of if you have 100 and above, and then it's capped. It's capped because we're going to be giving teaching and learning materials to all the students. The lecturers, they're going to recruit teachers that are going to take those children in those schools. There will be an incentive and a stipend that will be given to the malamis themselves in the school, buy soap, buy basic essentials that the children are going to need while they're going to school. So all those things are capped to a number because we have to operate within the budget that we have. Lastly, to your point about NAPS, the arrangement we have with NAPS, I mentioned that we're working with the DG Quality Assurance Authority, their sponsor. The arrangement we have with them that the out-of-school children are going to be attending the school. What would the deal we're trying to make with them, the chairman, Kaduna Inland Revenue Service, somebody I've spoken to as well, is to give them some kind of rebate, the levies that they pay. So all the people that come under the scheme, the framework is in the works, but once we finalize it, all the people that come under the scheme get some kind of rebate in exchange to take out of school children go for free in their schools. That's the kind of arrangement that we're looking at, and we're hoping that with the help of God, we'll be able to do something tidy. And the good thing about it is if we get it right, it feeds into our sustainability plan, because then this is government dealing with proprietors of private schools. Chances are most of them, their schools are going to go on forever. As we've seen, a lot of those schools stay, even when the proprietors are not there, they continue. So our children can get the opportunity to school and the quality of education as well. Arguably, some of them give better education than schools. So that's, I hope I've answered your question satisfactorily. Thank you. The second question, mass education, sorry, that's an omission. We're speaking very closely with mass education. They've been part of all our meetings. We have a technical working group that we set up to align the implementation that our partner Save the Children, UNICEF is doing. Mass education is part of that technical working group. Give an input to what we're doing. Yes, peculiarities of children. Thank you very much for that point. We'll take that into account as we carry on. Also, if you notice, I mentioned catch-up clubs. So for the children who are a bit advanced in age, the idea is not to bring them to go and start primary two. You do an assessment of those children, and then you place them. You know, the program is called ABEP. That's what we're an educator, I'm sure you know about this. So they are going to be assessed at the level where they are and then placed. Some of them, like you said, don't want to go back to school. If you recall, I mentioned about skills, exploring that, yes, when you've gotten AB basic or post-basic, you don't want to further to tertiary, you don't want to get to tertiary education, then you can switch and get life skills that will help you to be a productive member of society. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you once again, my PC. So Prof mentioned that they have worked on some curricula that are tailor-made to address the peculiarities of out of school, especially the Almajiri. And I think only last September, we are aware that at federal level, new set of curricula were commissioned. Even though we are still waiting for supply, but remember, such curricula as developed by NERDC, which provide the BMAS, that's benchmark academic standard, but then it's up to the state to adapt, to customize, and do the needful. So what I'm saying is, we can get into discussions with you. I think this is the time to see how we can integrate what you have developed. We're having similar talks with Hajia Habiba and many other, stakeholders. So if we can get hold of them, we can discuss with you, see what we can pick from there and then mainstream accordingly. That's one. And number two, regarding the teacher posting, Mr. Ezra has provided a response to that. But the point is, it's actually a package. When he mentions that teachers are going to be, posted to where they belong, he's actually, as he said, referring to the flexibility associated with the posting. If you are from Kiwa, you'll be given the opportunity to elect to be there. But then there is, as I said, it's a package. Then there is also this retention strategy we are working on. We are working to incentivize where there is absolute need to take somebody from the urban center, deploy him or her to the rural, then there is a an incentive system. We are working on that. There used to be that in the past, but we know it needs to be modified. And there is also going to be targeted recruitment. This targeted recruitment would ensure that the portal captures you and where you stay, and then you are going to be recruited knowing fully that this is where you are going, with the opportunity for us again at any given point to take you anywhere that we want. So there are these initiatives in place. Regarding the threat that if Kaduna State continues to mainstream Almajiri, maybe feed them, clothe them, do this, do that, are we not actually encouraging a kind of external influx from neighboring states? This is truly a problem. And Mr. Ezra had, we are in the process of mapping them now. Mapping both their marginaries and their teachers. And then there are criteria. There are criteria before you are considered to be part of that project. A situation whereby we know where you are, we know the number of students or learners that you have, then increasing an increase of one would require a permission because it requires a budget. So that is what he was talking about. There is a kind of mapping process now. This is done to make sure that the source of supplies are blocked. And then finally, there isn't any contradiction. In the year 2024, the state government allocated 24% of its budget to education. 2024.
Actually, already is presenter, lead paper presenter, Director Center for Girls Education, and also the chairman. Although at that particular time, papers were not presented. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank them for the wonderful papers that they presented. And we assured you that the presentation you made, the faculty will take note of that, and then it's going to be part of our, it's going to be part of what I want to take, especially in the community. And then the deans that are present here, directors, our colleagues, professors, students, we appreciate you for making it, for witnessing this opening ceremony. And the press, thank you also for the coverage. Conference. Hajia Habiba, thank you very much. And then the faculty working to bring some proposals to you. Also participate. The technical session will be at the Faculty of Education. So thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. The chairman, sir, members of the high table, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of this opening ceremony. But meanwhile, like the chairman of the local organizing committee said, the plenary session will proceed immediately after the closing of this event, and it will extend till tomorrow. Like he said, all teaching and non-teaching staff of the faculty and students are expected to participate. And then also, like I said earlier, this event has been streamed live on the university YouTube channel, Ahmadu Bello University Zaria. So you can log on YouTube, search for Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, click on subscribe to the YouTube channel and click on the bell notification icon for you to be notified each time any important university event is going on. Quickly, ladies and gentlemen, we started with opening prayers, and we will also close with prayers. The format adopted at the beginning will be the same format that will be adopted at the end. May we take 30 seconds to pray according to the dictate of our respective faiths. Amen, amen. I wish us all safe journey back to our various destinations, but before we go, there's going to be a group photograph, starting with the members of the high